Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 71 of From the Van. It's a podcast from my van, where I have conversations with people who have relationships with residential vehicles. I'm your host, Marty Benson, and today's episode features Jacey. Jacey, I met in Bend, Oregon, which is a wonderful place, chock full of van lifers, old friends and new. Jacey is a ardent, hardened traveler. And I got to sit down and really sort of like dig into what her deal is. She's one of those people who sees an opportunity and grabs it by the throat. And that's really inspiring to me. I spend a lot of time procrastinating, and it's always a good kick in the pants for me to have a conversation with somebody like Jacey, who has written a book and published it by 24 years old, and went and traveled all over the world on basically no money, on work exchange programs, and now lives in a van. It was illuminating to talk to her, to say the least. So, I hope you enjoy this episode of From the Van, episode 71, featuring Jacey. We're recording.
Okay, great.
Jacey, thank you for being on the podcast.
Absolutely.
We have met in Bend, Oregon in the last couple of days. And you are a traveling nomad of sorts.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
What's your van? I haven't seen the inside of it yet. I walked past it.
Well, it's a mess right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it always is.
Yeah.
It's a 2001 Dodge Ram van.
Mm-hmm.
It's the high top. The high top was put in before I got it. It was a handicap shuttle bus when I bought it.
Cool.
So then I converted it out of the handicap accessible, and then took the ramp out and the locks and everything, and then just converted it in 2019.
2019? Have you been living full-time in it since then?
I moved into it full-time April 1st, 2020.
Okay.
Right when COVID was coming around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How was that?
So my lease ended at the end of March.
Uh-huh.
So I was... so 2 weeks actually before my lease ended, I had to do a quarantine because I'd had a fever, and I worked in a restaurant. The restaurant closed. But then anyway, so I was doing a 2-week quarantine, and then at the end of the quarantine, my lease was also up.
Right.
So during that time, I got everything I owned into the van.
Uh-huh.
Everything else just went to the curb.
Mm-hmm.
And then moved into the van April 1st and went all the way to my mother's driveway and parked there.
Was that close by in the same town?
It was about an hour.
Okay.
But it was definitely not.
And what town are we talking about?
Road like I wanted to.
Where is this?
This is New Jersey.
Okay.
So I was working and living in Asbury Park on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
So I was making some nice money there. That's part of how I saved to get on the road. Forget your question.
Yeah, so you go and you're like parked in your mom's driveway. We did the same thing last year.
Yeah, so I was parked in my mom's driveway, and it was actually good because she's a quilter, so she was sewing face masks when COVID hit. And in the Northeast, it was really strict. Everyone was buying all the masks, and you couldn't find any.
Right.
And then everywhere you went, you needed a mask.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom was selling out. I got in the sewing room with her, and we started a business for 2 months of making and selling masks.
Cool.
We made hella bank.
Good.
A lot more than you would think. I'll put it this way. We made over 3,000 masks, and we sold them for $5 each.
Wow.
So, yeah, we made a few $1,000s in a couple months. So, anyway, I was doing that with her almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then August came around, and things slowed down, and I was just, fed up with the New Jersey summer. And I was like, I need to get up to Maine, cool down. Especially because I was still living in the van in her driveway. And I had my cat in the van.
Jersey's hot in the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was only for a couple of weeks, really, but it was those weeks. And I had my cat in the van, and we were plugged in, but I don't have an air conditioner or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, we hit the road in August, and then we went around the northeast corner. We went up to Maine for a couple weeks, and then we just spent about a week in all the other Northeast states, and then went back to New Jersey for the holidays. In January, I jumped down to Florida, and then I've been full-time in the van since then. been just going west along the coast, really.
Yeah, nice. Through Texas? And so did you come down through like San Diego and up through California?
I didn't actually. I'm not used to talking so much because I live alone on the road. My body is like, what is this nonsense?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I didn't actually go down to Southern Cali. I ended up going north in Arizona. I went up to Sedona, then wanted to go to the Grand Canyon, and then I went to Van Fest in Utah. So once I got to Arizona, I was going north instead of west. And after Van Fest, then I came across Nevada, turned up towards Oregon.
Okay.
So I was in California for about like 6 hours.
Yeah, but you didn't stop there anywhere.
I stopped for
Did
2
you do
nights.
Tahoe at all?
Huh?
Did you do Tahoe?
No.
Okay.
No, I just like stopped along the way at a hot spring, and then kept going up to Oregon, and then now I've been in Bend for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then today I'm heading down to Cali. Probably meander my way up the coast as it gets warmer.
You're gonna go to California?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm driving. I have some packages at a post office in El Portal near Yosemite.
All right.
So I gotta drive 10 hours to go grab those.
That's hilarious.
It's been a whole ordeal. Because I was gonna go to Yosemite as soon as I got into California. And then my plans changed, and it was like 4 weeks later. Yeah. Now I'm going back to the post office to pick them up.
That stuff's still sitting there?
Yeah, actually the postmaster there is really nice. I called him like every other week. I'm calling him. And I'm like, hey, my package is still there. And he originally was like, we're only going to hold it 2 weeks, so if it's not here, we're sending it back.
Right.
But then I was talking to him, and he was like, you know what, I'll just keep it for you. Whenever you get here, you get here.
Cool.
And I was like, oh, man, you get it.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
Like, living in the van life, I'm always somewhere I didn't expect to be.
Right.
So it's so hard to plan ahead and get a package sent. But, yeah.
I know there's a bunch of kerfuffle about Amazon and stuff, but I use those Amazon lockers all the time. Yeah. And my favorite trick about them is if you order something to an Amazon locker and you don't pick it up within 3 days, they issue you a full refund.
Oh, wow.
And so, like, you just rebuy it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
wow.
If I think I'm going to be in Portland in 3 days or whatever, I'll order something to Portland. And if I pick it up, I pick it up. And if I don't, I'll just order it to Seattle next week or whatever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's rad.
That is such a great idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been so stressed out about, like, if I need something, like, I want, like, a new pair of boots or something. And I'm like, I need to order it when I know I'm going to stay in a place for a week at a time. And it's so stressful. That's such a great idea. If I don't pick it up, I'll just get it
just Amazon, but yeah.
I mean, where do you buy anything if it's not on Amazon?
Would you buy boots on Amazon?
I've always bought boots on Amazon.
Never bought a pair of shoes on Amazon before.
I buy everything. I actually think the only thing I buy in the store regularly is groceries.
Yeah. Everything else you just order.
And then I haven't bought anything since I've been on the road.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, that's another cool thing about living in the van is that, like, people try to give me stuff and I'm just like, I don't need more shit.
No,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? Like, I don't.
In fact, let me give you something.
Yeah. Here's the thing I don't need. So what put you into the van? Why did you move into a van? Like, was that like an oh shit moment because of your lease and COVID, or were you already planning on doing it? So
I bought my van the October before COVID came.
Okay.
Because the car I had at the time actually was dying, and I could pay $3,000 to get a new engine in this like 2006 Chevy Cobalt, like this thing that I only spent $2,000 to buy it. Right. So I'm like, no.
You're not gonna fix it for more than it's worth. Yeah.
So I tossed that one. And then I was like, I need to buy a new vehicle. And I'd been thinking about van life, and I'd been thinking that that's something that I should do next. And I was like, well, if I just buy a van now, you know, I don't have to convert it right now. Right. But I can just have a van as my vehicle. Right. And then, you know, get to the van life. So I had like, there was like 1 week, I think, where before I trashed my car, it still chugged on. And so I chugged it on. Found a van within like a week on Facebook Marketplace. Went to go grab it in Pennsylvania, and that was it. And then I had the van.
So it was like a handicapped passenger vehicle. Were there a bunch of bench seats and stuff in it? Is that what it was?
Yeah. So it had bench seats, and then also had these like these claw locks from the bottom to hold in a wheelchair.
Hold the chair still. Yeah.
And then there was also a ramp that went up and down for the, to go in and out. So actually, when I was doing the demo, and I ripped out all the rubber flooring, and then there was some molded plywood, and applied that up, and then under that there were these like wide, thin, like metal coverings just randomly placed around the floor, and I couldn't angle grind them off. Like they were welded on, and I ended up having to like cut puzzle pieces out of my foam insulation and just like press it down on my floor around
to get around it.
These huge metal brackets.
Wow.
And then I just put like Reflectix over the metal. And then so now that's how I got my floor of insulation. But there's gonna be all these random little spots of metal. Whoever rips up my floor next is gonna be like, what the fuck happened over here? Sorry, can I say that?
You can say anything. Okay. If you say something racist, I will edit it out.
I don't think
but you can say anything else. Yeah, so do you have a background in building? Like, what's in your van? Did you do it yourself?
Yeah, so okay, so let me give you the full. In 2017 was when I had a big life-changing epiphany, I guess. And then I made a lot of big changes. I wrote and published a book. And then I was like, I'm gonna go abroad. Didn't have any money, and I was like, so let's do it without money. So I did work exchanges overseas.
Oh, cool.
So I would like help take care of pets, or I would clean, or I would do like household chores. I would cook, or garden.
Yeah.
There are a lot of gardening jobs. Anyway, so you could just do work exchanges.
Where did you go?
My first place I went was in France, and I stayed for 6 weeks on a vineyard in southern France.
Hell yeah.
Yes, amongst rolling hills of blooming sunflowers, and just so beautiful. And so I stayed in, they had like a little camper outside. It didn't go anywhere, it was just sort of in their backyard. So they used that as like a guest apartment. So I slept in there. They gave me all my meals, including a lot of liters of wine. A lot of liters of wine.
Nice.
And I stayed there for 6 weeks, helping pull potatoes out of the garden, trim the hedges, take care of, they had 12 dogs on the property. Yeah. So you take care of them a bit. And and I stayed there for free. Anyway, so that was the first place I went. Then I spent 14 months total traveling through Europe and Southeast Asia.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. I lived in Asia. I lived in Thailand specifically for 5 months teaching English. Okay. And then after that, I popped into Hawaii and came back to the U.S. And that was fall of 2018. Nope. That was fall of 2019. Nope. I think it was 2018, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, that sounds right. If you started in 2017.
Yeah, it was like a year and a half later.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So then I got a job at the travel agent, a little office desk job, which
Back stateside?
Back in New Jersey. Okay. Yeah, so I was living with my brother for a couple months until I found a place. And I got a job at the travel agent, thinking I can keep traveling my life. Hated the job. Yeah. Hated sitting at a desk. And I was sending people on these, all-inclusive resort vacations. And I love to travel with the nitty-gritty. Yeah. So it was hard for me to tell someone to spend money on something like that. So hard for me.
I hate all-inclusive resorts.
Oh, I mean...
them. I've been to a couple, and they're just bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... I know.
It's like you go pay money to go just be surrounded by a bunch of like milquetoast drunk Americans.
Oh yeah.
In another country. Right. Why would you do that? Like, go hang out with the people who live in the country.
Right, and that's the thing is I wanted to send people on these like jungle journeys in Costa Rica. Yeah. And they're like, I want to sit on the water in Jamaica at my all-inclusive resort instead. Right. And I'm like, can I at least give you like a day trip to the waterfall or something? Yeah. Just because I hated making people spend money on a trip where they're not going to experience the culture.
Right.
Why go to another country?
Exactly.
If you're going to stay in America.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
the same thing. Anyway, so that only lasted a few months till I went back to the restaurant industry. I moved to Asbury Park, got an apartment walking distance from the water and the boardwalk, and then I worked there for, I don't know, the rest of the year or two. Saved up a whole bunch of money because Jersey Shore boardwalk money in a restaurant, ooh, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up right outside of Myrtle Beach.
Oh, you did?
Not entirely unlike Asbury Park, New Jersey.
Not
pretty
entirely
freaking
unlike
similar.
It. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So then COVID hit. The restaurant closed. That was when I moved into the van. So the reason really behind the van overall is I wanted to keep traveling.
Right.
I came back from abroad. I tried to keep traveling in my life with a travel agent job. Couldn't stand it.
Right.
Then I got a job at a restaurant again. And I'm like, I want to I need to travel. I need to have it in my life because sitting still, it makes my skin crawl.
Yeah.
I need to keep moving. I want to keep learning every day. I want to be stimulated by a new environment. And I crave that. So I wanted to keep traveling, but I had my cat. And while I was abroad, my mom kept my cat with her. But I was too guilty, and I missed him, and he wasn't like super happy at her house. And this cat had come to college with me. I'd had him since 2013. So I wanted to keep him with me. So I was like, how can I travel with my cat in a humane way so that he's not, stuffed into a bag on an airplane every other day?
Right.
And the best idea to me was keep him in a house.
Yeah.
Just bring the house different places.
Right.
And do that in a van.
Yeah.
And I built tiered things in my van so he'd have stuff to jump up.
Cool.
And I put a bookshelf up high, so he has this little tunnel under the ceiling.
Lays up
to
in
go
there.
And crawl in there. Yeah, and he sits up there all the time.
Cool.
Yeah.
He's good on a harness too, right? Yesterday in the yard, you had him on a harness, and you take him on hikes and stuff.
I can't take him on hikes because he chooses the path we take when we walk.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do to make him go in any direction. But he might follow a path for a little bit, but then something's gonna smell good 3 bushes over.
Right, and he needs to go into the bushes.
Yeah, and if he doesn't get to go into the bushes, then he gets really mad about being on a harness.
So tell me, I want to jump back for a second. May I ask what precipitated this epiphany?
Oh, yes. Oh, the juicy story.
Yeah.
So in 2016, I'd graduated college in 2015. And I was going to go into the Peace Corps, and I was going to go to Cambodia to teach English for 2 years. I had gotten accepted. I was doing the paperwork process. We were a couple months from going out, and then it fell through. The way the government, requires all kinds of information and everything, and they have certain rules and stipulations. So I wasn't able to go into the Peace Corps. And I was planning on that for my next 2 years. And I was like, okay, so I don't have any plans now. I've graduated college. What do I do? I'm trying to think how much detail I want to put out here.
Yeah, don't tell me anything you don't want to, but I'm very interested.
We'll just move forward a little bit in the story.
Okay.
And then I was living with a guy who I was seeing in a relationship with, and it was very toxic, and it was very an unsafe, unhappy environment to be in.
Okay.
So finally my eyes got opened, and I was able to end this relationship. And when I ended the relationship with him, I had to move out of the house, the apartment that we were renting together, and moved all of my stuff. I didn't have anywhere to go. I didn't have any job. I didn't have anything keeping me where I was in Louisiana, where I went to school in Baton Rouge. So I'm like, let me go back to New Jersey where my family is. I went back to New Jersey. I was sleeping in my brother's guest room. I had all my stuff in a shipping container and nowhere to put it. And I was in this limbo. I was in this I don't have any plans. I don't have anywhere to be. I don't actually have anything to do. Okay, what's next? It was like someone put a blank canvas in front of me and was like, go ahead.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to do or where to go. You know, a blank canvas, you're like, where do I start?
Yeah, sometimes freedom is crippling.
Yeah. I was on my brother's couch and he suggested I read a book called The Miracle Morning by Elrod. Have you heard of it? Okay. It's turned into a big movement of creating morning habits, which the author found when he studied the habits of really successful people, is to include those habits in your morning and sort of live with purpose. So it gave me a push. I was like, all right, January 1st, I started this like morning habits, and I kept going with it. And one thing it did was put me in front of the computer to write. And I'm a writer. I graduated with a degree in creative writing, and it made me write every day. And then I was like, well, let's keep writing. And then I pushed through for hours and hours every day, and I wrote a book. And I had, like, on my list of things I want to complete in my life was publish a book.
Great.
So I was like, why not do it right now?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have anything else to do anytime. I've got time. So I wrote for hours every day, and I got this book published in March of 2017, which was like really awesome to me. And I was like, okay, so I took something off of my lifelong bucket list of my what are you going to do before you die list of things, and I just did it right now.
Yeah.
Why do I need to wait until I'm almost gonna die to do it? And it kind of made me feel like, oh, I can do anything with my life right now.
Right.
And I don't know why that was a hard lesson to get in my head, but then so I was like, okay, it's possible, but I need the motivation, you know, to make the life changes. I was born with a hearing impairment, and it gets worse with physical impacts on my head. And when I was younger, it progressed a bit, and then it kind of like stopped progressing for about 10 years. And then early in 2017, I was practicing doing headstands, which I'm not good at. And I had flung myself forward. Pretty much I jumped onto my head. The way I felt, I threw myself against a wall, and then I crumbled at the bottom. Anyway, I had a big impact on my head, and I lost more hearing. And it reminded me that I can lose all of my hearing at any time. It's like if I were to get in a car accident and I hit my head on the window, then I would, you know, maybe lose all of my hearing. And that's happened to other people with my syndrome. So anyway, I was like, okay, what are things on my lifelong bucket list that I can accomplish that would be harder to do if I was deaf? And travel was on there. And I was like, that would be hard to do if I was deaf. Better do that while I can hear. Right. And then that's why, if I didn't have any money, but I was motivated to just go and travel. Go overseas, go to France, drink some wine, do something. And yeah, then I just made it happen. So yeah, the big motivator was my hearing loss. The big opportunity was a breakup with a bad ex. Yeah. And yeah, kind of having that freedom to choose what to do, and I just was like, okay, what do I want? Cool. And then what's this book? Tell me about the book. So the book is about dating and relationships. Okay. Well, much more about dating than relationships. It's called Fearless You as in university, and it's written for college-age women in the dating field. I had dated a lot in my high school and college career, but I, through that, learned how to be self-aware in relationships, and I did a lot of research, and I put it all together into this book. And so it's a bit of personal experience. I've had some exes come up to me and be like, so which part of the book am I in? And I'm like, well, actually, you know, the lesson I learned from dating you is in this chapter. No offense. But yeah, it's a lot about dating, breakups, and sex. Things that I really wish I've been able to find information on, or I mean, it's hard if you don't have someone in your life to talk to you about sex and stuff when you're going into college. And the reason I'd gotten stuck in that terrible relationship was because I thought I was supposed to be there. I was supposed to have a serious relationship by now. I was supposed to start living with someone and start a life with someone.
Right.
Because I'm done with college. That's what's next.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, help people understand that it doesn't have to be that way. Like, the majority of women in college expect to find their husband before they graduate. That's 22, 23 years old. To find a husband?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems insane.
There are a bunch of cultural expectations that I think are we're still sort of mired in, but they're changing pretty quickly too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it would have been crazy for you to say that about a 22-year-old woman 50 years ago.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But I think most people agree with you at this point.
Yeah, I think so.
Shit, I'm 40 and I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
and you don't need to.
Yeah.
Like, and it's a shame that you even feel like you've got to say that you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Who says anyone needs to know what they're doing? We're all works in progress from start to finish,
Yeah.
Everything's changing and life changes all the time.
That is rad that you published a book 4 years ago.
Yeah.
That's a young author.
Oh, yeah.
You're not an old
I was
person.
24.
I didn't want to ask, but I wanted to ask.
You were like, mathematically, you have to be. I was born in 1992. I'm 29 years old.
Okay. Yeah, that's fucking awesome that you've done that. So what is van life going to bring, beyond the post office? Like, going into the future past your post office visit next week?
I can't see past my next step. My next stop is the post office. That's my future.
Yeah.
Well, my ultimate goal with van life is to experience the freedom, right? And then while doing that, learn about the different places and learn about myself. Yeah. I really appreciate spending a lot of time on my own in silence, like in the middle of the forest or just, whatever, sitting by a campfire. I really like spending time alone and in the quiet.
Yeah.
And it's so relaxing to me, and it feels so peaceful, and I love to have that. So if I can do that in front of a different mountain every day,
hell
then,
yeah.
I do
exactly.
that. For the relative future, I guess the next year or two, my goal is to just keep on exploring until I'm tired of it. And, whatever else happens in my life during that time will happen. If I run out of money, I'll get a job. And if I, whatever. I just know where I'm going to be is probably on the road. And that's all I can say.
Great. Here, let me restart this. It just stopped.
Am I in the shadow
30
here?
minutes.
Would you prefer that I'm in the light?
It's fine. Most people just listen to this.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this is my favorite question to ask everybody. It sounds to me, just sort of, I think I've gathered that your brother and your mom have been pretty supportive of you.
Yeah.
In the recent past. But I'm always curious to know how people's inner circles, whether it's your close friends, or your family, sort of responded to this weird shit you're doing, right? I'm gonna move in and live in a fucking vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
Right? What?
Okay. Well, the precursor was me going abroad solo with no plans and nothing but a backpack.
So you had already bludgeoned them with that.
We broke that wall down a long time ago.
Sure.
And my mom, she needed reassurance, but I had a YouTube channel, so I had a vlog.
Right.
So it helped a lot that she could see videos of me being normal, not being attacked in foreign cities.
Right.
All of her fears never happened when I was abroad. So it was easier for her, and I had the closest relationship with my mom than anyone else in my family. It was easier for her when I started van life because I was abroad already.
You had already done that.
I could be like, you remember, Mom, when I was walking through Bangkok alone in the middle of the night and nothing happened? Nothing's gonna happen if I park at Walmart overnight.
Right.
I will be okay. And she'd be like, okay. A scared mom. But ultimately, she trusts me.
Mm-hmm.
And my brothers, I have 2 older brothers, and I mean, they're on board. They know I love adventure.
Yeah.
And they're just happy to see me doing something that makes me happy. They know I want a different kind of life. If I wanted a solid career and then a house and a kid and a dog, they'd be maybe concerned. But they know I don't want that.
Yeah.
They know I want to be free and on the road and explore and discover. So.
Yeah. Do you feel like... I know that for most of us, I did not go on a 14-month backpacking work exchange around the world trip. I have been studied abroad, and I've been abroad a decent amount.
Yeah.
But I know that for a lot of us who just sort of moved into a van out of an apartment, there were a bunch of sort of learning curves and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if what, if any, of those you experienced, but also I'm wondering if you think that huge trip that you took probably helped you assimilate into this sort of lifestyle too.
Oh, absolutely. Because for one example, I feel luxurious sitting on my Camco cassette toilet because it is so much better than a pit toilet in Thailand,
right?
Which were at the school where I worked at.
Yeah.
And I had to dig a spoonful into a pail to flush the toilet. It's so luxurious.
You had already broadened your comfort zone a great deal. Yeah.
So much. So if being in the van, I'm like, I have like a full-size bed.
Yeah.
I have a toilet with compartments that seal.
Mm-hmm.
I have a water system. I mean, my water system is pretty much just a steam tray with a hose down into it going into a jug in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's luxurious having all these clothes with me. Shoes. I have like 4 pairs of shoes.
Whoa, dude.
But when I was abroad, I had like 2. And one of them I was always wearing.
Mm-hmm.
The others were hanging on the sides of my backpack, like an old school backpacker. It helped me be minimalistic for sure, because I went from a backpack to a van, basically.
Now you're in a mansion.
Exactly.
Right? You don't have to sleep on a cot.
That's the other thing. I slept in a lot of hostels too when I was abroad, and sleeping in my bed in like a Walmart parking lot when people are walking by and like screaming outside, the bag, and running the shopping carts over the pavement. I don't care. I just keep sleeping. I'm used to sleeping in strange places with like, whoever around. And I just have to trust myself and my environment. Because if you don't, you'll never sleep.
Right.
So I just trust, nothing's going to happen.
So van life is just super easy for you.
Piece of cake. I
was telling Shane the other day, it was like, somebody was trying to get me to move to a quieter spot or something like that. And I was like, no, dude, I'm training up. You know? Like, I find that I go through these sort of ebbs and flows of staying in places that are like super desolate and quiet. But I also love cities. Yeah. I love being in cities. And then, when I'm properly trained up, I can sleep in a gnarly neighborhood in LA where it's loud and they're setting fireworks off, and I can sleep through it. You know what I mean? But then if I spend too much time in the woods, when I get to that neighborhood, I can't sleep anymore. Yeah,
even just like hearing the highway off in the distance, you're like, that is so loud.
Yeah.
Compared to the silence of the trees. Yeah, absolutely. No, I get that. I haven't been on much BLM land, like in the middle of nowhere, until I hit Arizona a couple months ago.
Yeah, there's not a lot of it on the east.
No, I mean, I would stay in like a parking lot next to the beach and be like, oh, I'm camping in the wilderness. And I'm like between, lines on a pavement. But it's really awesome being out here in the West. There's so much. There's so many places to go.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that it's a piece of cake for me. Not entirely. Yeah. I mean, van life is a challenge, I would say at least 85% of the time.
85% of the time.
I think you spend your days solving problems.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Not just like mechanically with the van, but just like, okay, well, I have to go to the bathroom. How do I do it?
Right.
Depending on what your system is, you got to get a bag out or, your pit toilet or whatever. But like everything is a process.
Mm-hmm.
Everything takes so much longer. It takes me like 3 hours to get dinner together.
Really?
Because I got one cutting board, and then I got my countertop, so I gotta like, cut it all up. And then, and then I got the one pan, so I have to cook this first, and then cook this next.
Right. Yeah.
The propane stove and everything, and then cleaning everything.
Yeah.
It takes so much longer.
I let Spin pre-clean everything.
Oh, that's convenient.
Yeah, so I had some chili. I got a chili Tupperware that he's gonna, get most of the junk out of, and then I'll just clean his spit off of it.
That is very convenient.
Makes it a little easier.
Maybe I should get a Spin.
Let's talk. Yeah. He is. I'm constantly solving problems with that asshole.
Oh, yeah,
I'll tell you that. Yeah. Let's get into. Like, just sort of logistically, what is in your van? Like,
okay.
Tell me about your build.
All right, it's not luxurious. I did the whole build with 2 hands. My mom helped me sew my window covers, and that was all the help I had. So I got, like Black Friday deal of a combo pack of tools from Home Depot.
Okay.
So I got like the circular saw and the screwdriver and the station light and everything. So I just like worked on my van in the parking spot of my apartment. The question is, what's in it?
You said you got a full-size bed.
Okay.
You're using a propane stove. What's your fridge?
Okay, so I have the most luxurious thing is the fridge, which is an Alpicool. It's a dual fridge and freezer.
Alpicool? I don't know
it's
that.
knockoff Dometic.
Oh, okay. But it works good?
It works great.
Yeah.
It's got like a Bluetooth connection. It's got like a digital screen. I can adjust the temperatures of each compartment. I can put them like both to freeze or both to fridge.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really, so it's a nice fridge, but it takes a lot of power. So I have 2 Jackeries.
Okay.
I have a 1000 and a 500. And
those are the Jackeries, the portable power station? Yeah. How do you charge them?
I charge them with solar, or I charge them while I'm driving, or I charge it if I have an electric AC outlet.
Okay.
And I try to keep on top of it. With my solar panels out on a sunny day, I break even with my power usage.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
how much solar do you have?
Days, huh?
How much solar do you have?
Right now I have 100 watts.
Okay.
But I'm going to pick up at the post office in my near future another solar panel.
Sometime in the next 16 weeks. Another solar panel? Are these ones that you're just putting out? Are you going to install them on top of the van?
So I have a Renogy, which I may install on top of the van. I just got it because I knew that replacing my current Jackery solar panel with the solar panel I'm picking from the post office would take a few weeks. So about a month ago I bought a Renogy panel just so I'd have it in the meantime. And I've been just putting it out. It's like, that lumbersome like metal. So it's like annoying to carry it. Yeah. But I do. But it would be much easier if I just put it on my roof. Right. I just need to figure out how.
Yeah.
Like where, and then if the cord will fit, and then where I can put the station. But yeah. But yeah, so I've got 200 watts of solar. So that runs my fridge mostly. If I'm in like not perfect weather, I'll turn on the fan, but I try really hard to be in perfect weather. So I'm usually in like a 65-70 range, 65 to 75.
That's my sweet spot too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I actually like it a little cooler than that.
Yeah, at night I like it to drop down to like 45, 50. But yeah, I love having my windows open. I have 365 windows.
Yeah.
360.
You have tons of natural light in your van.
Yeah.
That's one thing I kind of wish I had a little bit more of in here.
Yeah. I only really take off maybe 4 of the window covers. Do you need to restart them?
No, we're good.
Memory card full.
It's fine. The GoPro's still going.
Okay.
What about your window covers?
So I only take off like maybe like half of them routinely, because the other one's like, tucked behind the fridge or whatever. Right. But still, yeah, it brings in so much light. I love that you have a window right on this door here.
Yeah, I installed that.
It makes such a big difference.
And just the blind spot would have been terrible.
Oh yeah.
Because I can't, when I'm backing out of something, I can't see unless I look through that window. So that's pretty huge. Yeah, how are you going to run solar? What's your ceiling situation in the van? Did you install a ceiling?
So I have a fiberglass high top. That is, it has 6 inches of insulation between the top and the ceiling.
You put that in?
No, that was in the high top when I got the van.
Cool.
Then I put 1-inch foam insulation, and then I put like a beadboard, like a wall paneling beadboard panel on the top of that. So I would just go through those layers. Yeah. So I just have to drill a hole and then fix it and all. The real issue is that the cord between the solar panel and the jackery is like 6 feet.
Oh, it's only 6 feet.
So I would either need to affix the station like close to the ceiling. Right. But it's really heavy. Or get a longer cable. Yeah. So I just need to figure that out. Yeah. I just haven't tried yet to figure it out.
Do you find that, do you lose power for your fridge sometimes?
Yeah, actually I usually turn it off every night.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Because I've been staying in places where it's like 45 at night outside. So then the fridge will stay under 40. And the freezer will stay under 30. Cool. Yeah.
You just can't open it a whole lot of time.
No, and when I'm sleeping. Yeah. Whatever. And it's on the floor, so it's in the coldest spot of the van. So. Cool. Yeah, and then that saves me a lot of power. Yeah. For sure.
To turn that off. Yeah. Definitely. Well.
So the other stuff in my van.
Yeah. Keep going.
I haven't fully answered this question yet. So it's a budget DIY. Everything is crooked. Everything is just like falling apart. But it's like together enough to work. Right. But everything else is.
That's my build too, dude.
Oh yeah. Like my table is an extra piece of plywood. Yeah. And I have that screwed into. I have a PVC pipe lagoon table.
You got the bootleg lagoon.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, the homemade lagoon table.
Very cool.
And I have a countertop which is Formica I found in my mom's basement. Nice. All my furniture was like adapted from Facebook Marketplace. Okay. Like they do a lot of free to pick up. As long as I go pick it up. Right. Like a new kitchen drawer. Except they shipped it without the drawers. So they got another one from the company. So they had a brand new kitchen like island with not drawers but with holes, and I was like, this is great. I put my water system under there. Cool. And then I can reach in and like fix my jugs or whatever. So all my furniture was cheap or free.
Very cool.
And then I either cut it to size or whatever.
So this is a question
okay.
I would always get when I had a cat in the van. Spin and a cat lived in this van together.
A lot going on at one time.
There's a lot going on. Where is your litter box?
It's under my bed. Okay. And I have a litter box with a lid. So when he kicks up, it just stays inside the box. And it has like a little filter on top, and I think that helps. It doesn't smell much. Yeah. Also, it's easily accessible. It's not like I need to go all the way into the back room. Right. To empty it out. It's right by my front door. Right. I found that we emptied the litter box a whole lot more than house life people do. Yeah, exactly. Like so I clean it.
Pretty much the second that she would shit, we'd put it in a bag.
Yeah. The very least I'll do is every time I take the garbage out. Yeah. And I just have like a grocery shopping bag that I use for my garbage. And so I fill that up like, I don't know, every 2 days. And then so if I haven't yet, then the litter box is totally empty because I'm like throwing the trash out. Right. But yeah, it doesn't stink. No.
Do you have swivels on your seats?
No. I only have the one seat because I don't have a passenger because my passenger door was the entryway into the shuttle. Okay. Yeah. So I don't have a passenger seat, which I actually like because I use my front door as like an entryway. Yeah. And I keep like my shoes and my outside stuff there. Yeah. And then I have like a weather mat.
Little foyer.
Yeah. I do. I have a foyer. Cool. I have a fancy van at the foyer. Yeah. I do not have swivel on my front seat, but I don't really miss it because I've got a couch here, and then I have my fridge as a bench, and then my bed is like right there. So cool. I don't miss it.
Do you have cabinets up top? Up high? Yeah.
So I did like a make your own cabinet where I got DVD shelves. They're really like tall, 6-inch wide. I turned those on their side, and I put them over my bed. Yeah. And then I made like doors that are attached to the ceiling that just swing in front of the shelf. So I have the shelf, there's space inside the shelf, and then I have the space on top of the shelf. Yeah. Because then there's the panel in front of it. And I just took some old blinds that I found in my mom's basement, and I glued them together onto a wood panel. Okay. and then I screwed that in on a bracket so it swings in front of the... So anyway, it's the whole completely handmade cabinet. Not at all straight or solid or correct or stable.
But they hold stuff.
They hold stuff.
That's all that matters.
Yes.
Very cool. Oh, I should have asked you this earlier.
Oh, yeah.
To circle back. Tell me about YouTube.
Oh, right.
You did YouTube for a while and you don't now.
Yes. Just recently,
okay.
I took an indefinite break from YouTube.
Okay.
I have a channel called Fearless Jacey, and I started it when I went abroad in 2017. So that's almost 4 years ago. I started the channel. I filmed every day while I was abroad, and I put up videos for 5 days a week for way too long. Like, too many weeks and months. And then I went down to like 3 days a week, but I had 200 videos posted, I think, by the time I got back to the States.
Wow.
And I was only gone for a year and a half, so I posted way too frequently. But I developed my channel then.
Were you having fun with it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It was fun. And especially being alone overseas and like just completely solo, it felt nice to have like a buddy.
Right.
And so my GoPro would be like my buddy, and I'd be like, oh my god, we just got to this like really cool place. You know, there's nobody else around. And I'm just like, you know, my buddy. But it helped with like my homesickness and just being alone in general. And it gave me like a purpose in everywhere I went. So when I went to a new city, I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? Like go to a movie here, you know, go eat in a restaurant, and I'm like, I'm gonna walk around and film this place so that I can make an interesting video.
Right.
And then so I did more. I did more things. I did more like adventures so I can get more footage, and it really like pushed me. I kept the channel going when I started van life, and I documented the build, and that was, you know, good. Once I got on the road, it felt like the camera was getting in the way. Like I was on a schedule of posting, so I was on the schedule of editing, and like if I didn't edit, then I wasn't gonna post it, and then I have to wait till next week because you can't post a video on a Monday. It's just a waste of a video. You gotta post it on a Saturday or a Sunday, and then it's just like, it got in my head too much. Yeah. And the more I would talk to people about it, they would be like, okay, well then like put more into it, put more effort in. And then I'm like, okay. And then I get more stressed and more, you know, and it was just, I needed a break from it. I needed to not have a deadline. I needed to not have the camera in my hand. I've never traveled without filming. I was like, what would that even be like? And like I said, I love being alone, and I couldn't quite get alone with the camera there. Right.
That's your
like
buddy.
We said, there was my buddy. Yeah. So I want more time to just like sit and think while I travel.
Right.
You know,
actually experience everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of documenting it. Yeah. Cool.
So that was why I quit the channel. I'm sure I'll get back to it because I do have a lot of footage. I want to make videos. And it's fun. I love having the documentation of it. And it's fun editing, you know, putting my own layers on things, my own personality into the video. Yeah. So I'm sure I'll get back to it, but
just right now break.
I need to focus on.
I really, that's one of the things about this podcast. I do it mainly for myself. Yeah. And I have a terrible memory. And so I love that, like, when my back gives out and I'm old and like senile, I can just listen to these things. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Oh, I remember that person, kind of. You know? Oh, yeah, I remember that guy. Yeah. I do that. I already do that. And the videos are the same way, right? Yeah.
On my channel, I'll go back and I'll be like, I'll watch a video that, like, I don't quite remember what happened or where it was. Yeah. And I'm like, but I know I filmed it. And I'll go back and watch the video. And the other people in the video will be like, oh my god, I remember. Oh my god, we had such a good time together. And, yeah, it's just, it brings you back. It's nostalgia. And it's proof that, like, you did something. Yeah. You know, like, you're doing this while you're on the road, having a grand adventure. Like, or making your life a grand adventure. Yeah. And it's like, that's awesome. That's what I'm going to want to remember about my life.
Definitely. These moments. Yeah. Great. Is there anything I forgot?
I don't know. I don't even know what we talked about, man.
Okay, great. That's fine. You can listen to it again, too. Okay. Do you have anything you want to plug?
So my Instagram, I do post on every day still, and I'll try to put stories up every day, post or, like, you know, when I'm in service range. Fearless Jacey on Instagram. my Fearless Jacey videos on YouTube. And that's all I've got.
I don't have you on Instagram. Now I do.
There you go.
Cool. Well, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so I haven't done a podcast in a while. And no, I haven't done an interview in a while. I've never done a podcast. Hope it came out alright.
We'll see.
I got my lisp and my slurs. So we'll see. But yeah, this is great. I love talking about family life. I love to just sit and chat about, where I've been and what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's such a fan life conversation. So yeah, anytime, man.
Cool. Yeah, we'll see you on the road.
Absolutely.
In some months after you go to the post office.
Post office.
All right, guys, we did it. That was episode 71 of From the Van featuring Jacey. Had a really great conversation with her. It's super fun to talk to people that I don't know that well on the podcast sometimes because it always leads me down a path that I didn't expect. Jacey is a very inspiring person because she just sort of made it her mission to not have any fears and to live outside of her comfort zone. So I enjoyed talking to her. I hope that you enjoyed listening to it. And I hope that you will also come back next week for another episode of From the Van.